What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Medicom Toys Mafex X-Men series, Gambit. And so here we have Gambit posed and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Gambit does come with two different head sculpts. We do have the neutral expression. Then we do get an angry expression. He also comes with a pair of fists, a pair of grip hands, a pair of relaxed grip hands, a pair of hands for holding his cards in various ways, a pair of hands where his fingers are splayed out, and then that's the exact same pair of hands with a translucent peg in it. He also does come with two card effects that he can hold. He has one where he has two cards that he can put in between his fingers. Then we do have one card with a trailing effect. He also does come with his bow staff, which looks really nice. I do like the metallic color behind it. And that does come with two different energy effects that you can peg on to the ends of it. He also does come with an energy effect where it looks like he's throwing his cards. And then a second energy effect which has a more fiery look to it where he's also throwing those exact same cards. Other than that, Gambit doesn't really come with anything else. I guess you can include his jacket as an accessory because it technically is, but we'll get into that when we talk about his details. So, with that out of the way, guys, let's actually take a closer look at Gambit. And so here we have a closer look at Gambit, and I think Mafex has done an incredible job on this figure. This is one figure initially I wasn't going to pick up, but after a few viewer requests and seeing another review on Gambit, I just had to pick this figure up, and you know what? Not at all disappointed in this figure. This is a very, very nice figure. I do like the head sculpt. It looks a lot like the Jim Lee style Gambit, which I absolutely love. Everything about Jim Lee's X-Men designs, that's something I grew up watching, so I have a nostalgia bone for them, and it's no different here with Gambit. He was my second favorite X-Men character behind Cyclops. Really liking the mask that he has on him, if you can call it that. It's more like a cowl where he has his ears exposed, and then he has like a T-visor right here exposing the rest of his face. Not all good for a secret identity, but it's still really cool. He does have his ears poking through, which is kind of odd, but that's the 90s for you. This is a really nice head sculpt. Now, one thing I am a little bothered by is that they gave him red eyes. Normally I see Gambit with black eyes with a red pupil and iris, but this, it's throwing me off a little bit, but it's not necessarily bad. It still looks very nice. I think that's a really nice touch by Mafex. It's just one of those things that it does strike me as a little bit odd. So, having a look at the rest of the figure, we'll talk about his jacket first. It's a soft goods jacket, and I think the only issue I have with it, it's too light. The jacket seems like it's a really light shade of brown. When I think of Gambit, I normally think of his jacket being like this darker shade of brown. This is a very light, almost beige color, which if they had done this in a little more darker color, I think I'd be more fond of this jacket. It's still a very nice jacket with wireframes throughout it. We have a wireframe right here in the collar, so you can give him that puffed up collar if you really want him to have it, or you can actually have that down. And the one thing about it being soft goods is that it is removable, so if you don't want Gambit with the jacket on, you can of course pop his hands off, and then we have Gambit without his jacket. So I really do like that little detail that we got with it. So having a look at Gambit without the jacket, they spare no expense on his details. If I can just put his hand on really quickly. Really detailed figure. I absolutely love the work that they put in it. The piping on his vest here is done exceptionally well, and it is very beautiful in this metallic blue, looking really nice. It's so beautiful when you have it in hand, and then he does have this armor plating where he looks like he just has a bunch of scribbles on it, but it still looks really good, especially right here on his shoulders where you can see it goes around. That looks really nice. I absolutely love the pink that they went with for his armor or vest, whatever you want to call it, but it's beautiful. The sheen on it looks really good, and it catches the light beautifully. From every angle, it just has shading and light reflecting off of it. It's just such a really nice piece that you can't help but be mesmerized by it. It is very good. And then they actually did sculpt some details on his sleeves. You can see they actually sculpted on these little bands which those are painted really nicely, almost matching his armor right there. Although this seems to be a little bit lighter or darker than this might actually be cast in this color where this is paint. We of course do have the piping right here at the waist, which I believe, yeah, it's part of the waist, not part of the abdomen, so that's a really nice little touch there. It would have been a little bit more limited if this was attached to this piece, so really do like that. He does have his gloves here, which I always assumed he has the thumb and index finger exposed so that he can channel his kinetic energy into his projectiles. At least that's the logic I had behind it growing up. I don't know if that's a reason for it, because he also has his pinky exposed. Don't know why, but he just does. It's still very nice looking. Then we do have his bodysuit, which it is a bodysuit because it comes all the way around, but we do have this really nice texturing here on the side. Everything here is sculpted and painted beautifully. There's no bleeding on mine whatsoever. So yeah, absolutely adore that. Now we move on to his shin guards, which I actually like the way Mafex went about doing this. Talking about the detailing first, this screams Gambit. I mean, just look at how beautiful this looks. Just that 90s patterning going on it, along with the color. The color is so nice. Mafex spared no expense on this Gambit, and then he does have the triangles right here. So I know a lot of people are upset about how his knee pads are designed, because when you bend his knee, this is exposed, and then you have this as his knee, which I'm not at all bothered by that because it actually makes sense. Now, one thing I have noticed is that there might be something inside the knee that catches, because as you can see, every time I bend his knee, it gets stuck right there, and I have to push inward to get over it. That might be a universal problem, because I have noticed other reviewers having that same issue, but it's not a big deal. You just need to push on the knee a little bit and it goes back into place, so not going to complain too much about that. And then having to look at his feet, having that same color right there. Absolutely love this, and the train also loves this figure as well, but overall I can't complain about it. It's a very nicely detailed figure, and Mafex has done a beautiful job at capturing the look of Gambit, and I think they did Jim Lee justice on this design. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Gambit compared to other figures you may have in your collection. And so here we have Gambit posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Gambit posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Gambit posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally, here we do have Gambit posed next to a Marvel Legends Rogue and a Marvel Legends Gambit. So with the comparisons out of the way, guys, let's actually move on to Gambit's articulation. Now I will leave the jacket on just so you guys can see what the articulation is like with his jacket on. For starters, he does have a double ball joint in the head, which can look up about that far. He can't really look down, but his head is on one of those crooked ball joints, so you can rotate that around and give him better range of movement. He does get some really nice head tilt, and then he does have a ball joint here at the base of the neck, which does allow him to look down and up even more. Even with the collar, you can see, because it is on a wire, you can get that out of the way and have him looking up all the way. His shoulder is on a butterfly ball joint, so it does pivot forward and back, does pivot up and down as well, so I do like that. So we do get the full range of movement here on the shoulder, because it is in a ball socket, in a ball cap right here, so really do like that. It's interesting how Mafex does it, but it actually works. Arm does go out all the way, as you can see, no problem. It would do a full 360 if you didn't have the jacket on, but you can see it still goes all the way up, which looks really nice. So really do like that. He does have a bicep swivel, which even with the jacket works perfectly fine. He does have a double bend here at the elbow, and even with the jacket on, you can see he gets some really impressive range, so really do like that. And it did get stuck right there. I don't know, I'm seeing not only mine, but several others with joints getting stuck when you're moving them back to neutral, so that might be an issue down the road, but for now it's nothing too big. He does have a ball joint here at the wrist, which does move forward and back. We can rotate that to have up and down, so really love that. And then it's on a pin, so that does rotate His torso is on a double ball joint, so he can pivot back and lean back, can crunch forward to about there, side to side, no problem, as well as rotates. He also does have a secondary ball joint here, which gives him impressive range. I really do like that, going forward and going back all the way, no problem. Does rotate, no problem, really, really good. And then we get some hula hoop action right there. Legs are on drop down ball joints, so they do drop down. As you can see, that does provide some better range going forward, going back, out to the side. Really impressive, really do like that. And yeah, it's really good here on Gambit, I do like that. We do have a thigh swivel, works no problem. Double bend here at the knee, goes up really far, so again, no problems there. Now, like I said, he does have an issue where things seem to get caught. You just gotta push in on that joint a little bit and it gets over whatever it's catching on, so not that big a deal to me. He has a ball hinge here at the ankle, so that does move forward and back. Rotates as well. We can rotate that to give him a true rocker ankle with forward facing pin for rocker ankle if you want to just use that. And then we do have a very nice toe hinge. Now, moving on to the jacket, he does have some articulation in the jacket. His entire collar piece is on a wireframe, so you can actually lean that down, which looks good, or you can pop his collar up the way he would have it in the 90s. Then we do have a wireframe running from this point all the way down to the tip, so that does help with style posing, as you can see. Really, really good there. And then we have a wireframe running from here to the back, which again helps with posing, so you can get really crazy poses out of his jacket. But that's not all, it even has a wireframe back here, so we get even more crazy action with that. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wireframes throughout his jacket, giving him dynamic posing with that. That's so cool, that's so nice, I really do love that. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get Gambit posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the Mafex Gambit posed for my final thoughts. And overall, I don't have to say it twice, I love this figure. This is an absolutely knockout figure. I'm honestly surprised I almost missed out on this figure. I really wasn't originally going to pick this figure up because I didn't intend to upgrade my X-Men collection to the Mafex, because having a look at Cyclops and Wolverine Mafex, they really weren't the best figures, but Mafex absolutely stepped up their game with Gambit here. Gambit is an exceptionally well done figure. Makes me want to go back and pick up Cyclops and Wolverine. Maybe they're not as bad as I originally thought. Who knows, we'll see what happens. But Gambit here, absolutely perfect in my honest opinion. I think this is the best 1/12 collection Gambit you can have in your collection. I know there's a lot of people that say the Mafex Gambit is perfect. Now, I'm not going to knock that figure too much because I don't own it, but in terms of articulation, this guy has it beat. You really can't get any better than this Gambit. This is better than both the Revoltech and Marvel Legends Gambit. Maybe it's better than the Mafex or the Mezco one. I don't know. I don't have the Mezco Gambit to compare it with, but in my honest opinion, this one blows the Mezco Gambit out of the water, and with the amount of detail and accessories he gets, it is no surprise that I absolutely love the way this figure came out, with a few minor nitpicks being the jacket being too light and maybe wanting another head sculpt. I still think Mafex did a fantastic job with Gambit. Now, if you are looking for the Mafex Gambit, if you were like me and passed on it, you made a grave mistake. This is an absolute knockout figure, as I already said. This figure has everything you need in a Gambit figure in terms of accessories, so I honestly recommend picking up this Gambit. Now, unfortunately, he is sold out at most online retails on Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, Hobby Link Japan. Everywhere where you can pick up a Mafex figure, this Gambit is sold out. So your best bet is secondhand market, and thankfully right now he's not running more than 100 to 110, which is really good seeing as how he was just released. But if you need an absolutely fantastic Gambit in your collection, this is the way to go. Articulation is fantastic, accessories are great, and the paint apps are perfect on this Gambit. So if you haven't already done so, definitely add this one to your collection. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other Mafex and X-Men videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you'd like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.